Hey, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So let's continue where we left off. So the problem we have is organizing data. We haven't organized it well. And by the way, you can find the source code for this project on my website here, freephptutorials.com/downloads. So I put all the source code downloads on this downloads page. So in case you missed any source code, you can simply come here and check it. So there's a link in the description. And of course, the website has ads. So if you think you're looking for a way to say thank you, you can simply click one of these ads here, because clicks on ads do bring in revenue. So if you're feeling like it, just click one ad whenever you come to download something here. That way it's a way to show some appreciation, I guess. All right, so check out the code here if you need it. So let's come back here, and what we are doing is we want to let's try and save at least one. Here the data is not very well organized still, so let's just refresh our memory a little bit. So if there is lecture 1 here, okay, before we even do this, the problem we have is matching the lecture to the section here. We did add an index, but the index is still isolated because it's just one of the items in the post variable here. Also, the reason some of the data is not being saved, we can remove this if not empty now, because we found a way to remove those now, the empty values. So there's no need for this if empty. So let me remove it just for the lecture side here to help out. So I'll remove it on these guys here. Now, one more thing that is a problem is the naming of these guys. So let's go to our view side here on the courses view. And actually this courses view, not course view. What I want to change is how the naming is done. So we go down to the lecture object. So what I'm trying to change is, you see this part where is this here? There's an index, right? But there's a name here. So the object name, and then there's the curriculum ID right there. Okay. Now the problem is this is going to translate to lecture, and then here it's going to be a number like lecture 0 or lecture 1 or lecture 2. So what I want to do instead is we have this index that comes here. This index represents the current section that we are on, or curriculum. So let me copy this, and I want to extend this here. So this is going to be something like lecture 0, and then let's put another underscore and put wait, is it a curriculum, or I don't even remember what the other ones have. I think it's curriculum, not section. So we'll write curriculum. So curriculum there, and then underscore, and then let's put that index. So what will happen here is that every time we add one of these items here, it will have lecture and a number, and then the curriculum as well will be saved as part of that. So let me make sure that's the correct spelling to curriculum. Let me just copy here. Oh, wait a minute. Lectures. Okay, so this is the wrong place I've added this, but either way, where is that? Right here. So let me change that spelling. I think this is the wrong place. So I'll cut this whole part here up to there, which I've added. Let me remove it. Looks like the wrong place. Or is it? Yeah, it was. So that was on the curriculum. So I'm going down to the lecture section. Here is where I need to add this. So the index is right there, right? So that's what I need to be using. So there's an object name here, and then there's a lecture count, okay, which is lecture 0, lecture 1. Then let's paste that at the end. But instead of that variable there, we want to use this index right there. Wait a minute. Not the UID, no, but the index. Okay, so the index should be enough to tell us where this one belongs. So let me grab that and replace with index. So what we've added here is this one. In the name section here, we've just extended with curriculum underscore index. So let me copy this to every input that we have here. So this is another input with description. There's a name here as well. So same naming convention at the end of the name. Let's put underscore lecture and the lecture number. That way in the name itself, the lecture is embedded as well. So the video file will follow the same process here, but we don't have that yet, so let's just wait for it. So now we have better information. Let me refresh, and now if I click on add, it will add, but let me inspect now and see the name of this item. So if I go to here where there's name, you see now it's lecture 0 underscore curriculum 0. So that's great, but let's try an empty one. Let's say here where we add a new section and then we add a lecture. So let me see what this one will give. I will inspect and let's see. So there's name lecture 1, which is great. Okay, so it's the first lecture here. There's lecture 0 over there. So it's lecture 1 to make it unique, and then curriculum 2. And let's see if it's curriculum 2 for real. Okay, so this is curriculum 0, this is 1, this is 2. So that's great. Let's add another section and add another lecture. Let's see what we get here, if it's unique as well. So that's lecture 2, great, curriculum 3. Okay, so things are looking up. That's what I wanted right there. So let me do this. And let's go back to our admin section here. All right. Okay, so at this point, we want to grab these items for the lecture. Now remember that we've added curriculum and a number at the end here. So what I'm going to do is change the preg match to suit what I want. So here, any number of numbers here will work, but let's paste that an underscore curriculum right there, and then instead of this object index, we're just expecting a number somewhere. So I'm just going to grab this, whatever the number will be here. Don't remove the $sign at the end there. That's great. Okay, so we can now grab this and copy it to the rest. So back on the IUD lecture, wait, we didn't cut up for that, so we need to do that as well. Actually, you know, this IUD shouldn't matter at all, because we're going to use the index from the curriculum there. So this one is irrelevant. So what I'm going to do is, I may change my mind later, but let's remove that, because the lectures, the IUDs they're going to use are from the curriculum. So we're going to match that instead. So I'll remove that. And there's this index here as well, which I don't actually need anymore as well either. But let's just mute those for now, just in case we need them back. Okay, so since we have this now, things have changed a little bit. So the number at the end now is representing something else. Okay, so yeah, actually that's the key. So there's lecture, let's say there's lecture 0, and then curriculum. Yeah, so that number there represents our curriculum, so for this lecture. So what we're going to do is this key will get just the last number because there's a $sign there, so you just grab whatever number is at the end there, which will represent the curriculum. So that's great. So what we would do now is say lecture data key. So that key will store that particular lecture. All right, that's great, which is the same here. Okay, that's great, that's great. So we can match these two, and then we add an item in there. So lecture data. Okay, so I'm happy with this. Let's go down here and do exactly the same thing. So grab that curriculum at the end, copy, and then description lecture number, and then after the plus sign, let's add curriculum and that, and then exactly the same way, there's a key lecture data description, and then that key, and it will add to that. Okay, I think this is good information. Now, since we won't have this lecture index, so I'm just going to remove it from here, and we won't have this lecture data UID. So lecture data UID is great. So all we have now is lecture data and lecture data description. Okay, just those two after this part here. Okay, so let me save this and let's test this. I want to see how this information will be organized. So I'll refresh here, add a lecture. So this will be lecture 1, like 1 description, and let's add another one so that there are 2 of these here. There's lecture 2. Let's do like 2 description, and then finally let's just add an extra one here and see if that will be captured as well. Section 4. Let's try section 3. Section 3 description, and then finally a lecture here for that part. Let's try lecture 3 description. All right, so let's try and save this and see what information we get. Okay, so there we go, and let me see the organization here is what I really want. So this one goes to lecture 0 curriculum. Okay, that's fine. Lecture 1 curriculum. Okay, so this is not cool. I want these guys to be in the same place. Though lecture 3 is here, so that shouldn't be. Yeah, the reason there's a problem here is this is, where is the key though? Description. Nah, this is not what I wanted. Okay, so what's happening here? Preg replace. Oh, I see. Okay. I see. So the problem is, instead of us getting the last part, we are replacing it with an empty string, which means we're getting the rest. So I don't want the rest, I want the opposite of what we are doing here. So what I would do instead is grab this part. I want it to match all of this except the number at the end. So I'm just going to grab that and tell it to match this here, right about there, like so. Okay, and replace it. No, this $sign should go. We just need that at the beginning. Okay, so replace that with an empty string, and this should sort our problem out. Exactly the same thing here. Let me grab that up to the underscore and then put it right here, without the $sign, of course. Paste, and there we go. That should do the trick. So instead it will look for the beginning, this pattern, and then remove it, so which means we'll be left with just the number at the end. That's what I needed to do, actually. Okay, so let's refresh again. Oh, I hate having to type these again, but why not? This is lecture 1 description instead. All right, so let's try another lecture. Let's say lecture 2, and then lecture 2 description. Great. Let's try lecture 3 over here. So lecture 3, and then lecture 3 description. So as you can see here, there are 2 lectures in the first section, and the second section has 1 lecture. So let's see if that information will be reflected better in here now. Okay, so it looks like it did, because these 2 are in one place. This one is by itself, which is exactly the same thing here. These 2 are in the same place. This one is by itself. So the question is now, how do we know? So this one should go to the lecture 0, that one lecture 1, but what about these 2? Oh, these are for the description. Okay, great. So this looks like it's working as intended, but these are the curriculums. Where is 0 and where is 1? Okay, there's 0 and 1. Let's see, 0 and 1. We actually don't need this anymore. That's great. Let's move down here again. Okay. What key am I adding here? Oh, I'm adding curriculum here. Right. So the thing is, there's section 1 and section 2, and there's a UID here. Okay, so I'm still having a problem here matching these guys, because this is the ID I am looking for. 0 and 1 was their index. So maybe here I should add that index there. I think so. Okay, so let's try this. So you see curriculum here has an index at the end, right? But when we are adding here, we are not actually giving these guys indices to know exactly what their original index was. I want this because this is the same number on curriculum at the end here that we are using down here to identify these guys. So I need a way to keep this number. Here what we're doing is we're replacing it and deleting it. So what I'll do is I'll duplicate this and I'll call this one subkey, like that. And then what I'll do is I'll remove the first part without the number. So get that and put it here. So once I remove the first part and replace, then I have that subkey. Then I can grab that subkey and put it here instead. Okay. So let me do exactly the same thing here as well. I will put that subkey down here and duplicate this. So a subkey over there, UUID, grab everything up to here, and let's paste. All right. Okay, that's where I have a way to get this and try to find the corresponding lectures using that subkey. Wait a minute. Is this necessary here? Anyway, since we are using sub keys anyway, why not? Let me just add it there as well, just for consistency. So I'll grab this as well, duplicate, and paste it here, and write sub key. All right. We don't really need this index because we are grabbing the indices from there, so I think we are good. Because if I go back here, this index curriculum 0, it's the same as index curriculum 0 here, and that's the number 0 there, so this is redundant information. So I will do this just in case I need it back. If things work well, then I'll delete all these that are muted. Alright, so hopefully that wasn't too complex, but let's try this and see the information it gives us. So I'll try again, lecture 1, lecture 2. So the reason we're having to do all this is because it's hard to organize the data in the way it should be, knowing which lecture goes where and what UUID to give it. So like this, we are going to know. So let me go to there. Let me add a third one here, lecture 3, and lecture 3 description. All right, so we know now that 2 lectures are attached to section 1 and the other 2 lectures to section 2. So let's see how that's reflected. Let's get back here. Okay, so we have, what's happening now? This looks more chaotic now. So we have curriculum section. No, this is replacing the data again. What's going on? Let's see. Preg replace this with an empty string. Should leave. All right. Sorry, my bad. You see, the problem is key here is we're replacing the original key from there. So this is not great. So what do I do here? Let me change this name, because this key, you see, is coming from the loop here. But when we get here, we are replacing its value. So that's why it's not doing so well here. So I want to keep the original value here. So this one, I'll name it something else. So I'll just name it main key like that. And that's what I'll do here as well. Main key, just so that it's different. So I'll grab that and paste it here as well. Main key, so that it's not replaced. We keep the original content. Main key. Here it doesn't matter because we are not doing that here anyway. So key. It's one object at a time. So if this if statement is true, then it doesn't go through the others. In fact, we should have put else statements here and say else, because just to make sure that it skips the others if it doesn't find what we are looking for in there. Anyway, let's get back. Let's try one more time. Fingers crossed. This time I think I'll get exactly what I want. Lecture 1 description. Let's try 2 of them. Lecture 2 description. Lecture 3. All right, let's try one more time. Okay, so it seems we have all the information now. At least this key is used when saving. These keys correspond to actual indices of these things. So 0, 1, 0, 1, and then 0, 1 there, lecture 1, 0, 1. So this 0 corresponds to this 0 here. So in that one, there is 2. So we know now that in this one section, we have 2 items in there, and then in this section 1 there's only one item, so which is this one here. Okay, so everything is good now. This is the perfect thing we needed. We don't need these index, so what I can do is remove them as well from the courses view here. Where is it? This index object there, no need, but I'll leave it here. Where I can remove it is where I'm saving the data and sending an index as well, so that we can reduce the amount of data being sent. Let's see here. I'm looking for the send data, no, the save. Where is that? Something changed, save content, this one right here. So this is where I'm adding the index from, so we can just ignore it to reduce the amount of post data. All right, this is good. Now at this point, all we need now, the data is organized, all we need now is to save it, and the saving happens right here. So at this point it grabs old records from metadata, but since we don't have old records from there, from the lectures side, we're going to ignore this for now. What we want to concentrate on is this part down here where we're actually saving. So let's add some code to this section.